Hello and welcome. It has been a hot minute since I last recorded a Japanese video. A lot has changed. My hair has changed. The background has changed. You can see my wonderful kitty, Jasper, here. But we're not going to talk about that right now. We are just going to jump right into it. Japanese. Um, Last semester, when I made my first video, um, we were not even in the textbook yet. So I was using 3rd edition Yosoko, An Invitation to Contemporary Japanese. This is the book that I will be using for my Japanese class until the end of 201, and I just started 102, so I will be using it for at least another year. With this book, it can be really helpful to get the Workbook Laboratory Manual, which I have been using ever since. This is the only pre-made written help book that I use that is actually for my class, that is required for my class. I had shown those off last video. We are actually starting to learn more about Japanese, the language, sentence structure and stuff like that. That's where this book really comes in handy. We are not a part of just getting started, which was where I was last semester, which was only about learning hiragana, katakana, and a few other, common phrases, a little bit of learning numbers, but mostly, not the specialized counting systems, just, ichi, ni, san, none of the counter markers or anything like that. So it was pretty basic stuff. So now that we are using the book to learn more about grammar, sentence structure, and stuff like that, that could be a good help, and at least for me has. Stuff that I use that's not a part of my college curriculum include some of these things. So I use some pre-made hiragana and katakana workbooks. This one in particular, Learning Japanese, Hiragana and Katakana, a workbook for self-study. It's pretty good. Most of the characters are written correctly. This was published in 2007. It is a little outdated in how it wants you to draw some of the characters. However, anything that has, these little boxes that you can write in is helpful, especially since they're different sizes than a notebook is. It can be really hard sometimes to write the characters, words, sentences in a normal standard notebooks. Having one of these or one of the just empty notebooks for just writing characters can be very, very helpful. So always think of that as an option. As I said, it's not that there's necessarily anything wrong with it, it's just a little outdated. So I used that one for practice, just for the boxes, since I had already bought it. But I mostly use this one, 3-in-1 Japanese, Hiragana and Katakana workbook. It has some of these flashcards. It is the JLPT and 5 words, and you get writing practice. I've really enjoyed this workbook. So far, I have not noticed any discrepancies with the hiragana or the katakana or anything like that. I really like it. And then actually starting today, actually after this video, I'm going to be starting another workbook that they have, which is their kanji workbook. It is by the same company. I got these all on Amazon. I actually got all 3 of them for less than $30. I think it was like $26.95 to get those 3 workbooks. It's definitely worth it. Being able to read it write it is really important to be fluent in a language. Other stuff that I use that aren't just pre-made include flashcards. I use a lot of flashcards. This is just hiragana and katakana. It is a lot of flashcards. A lot. This includes anything that has a ten, pyo or gyo, anything like that. I also have flashcards for some vocab, cat, neko, as well as ones for other stuff. The ones that I started with, that I got first, were color-coded. It's this one. By this company, Deborah Dale Designs. None of this is sponsored or anything. This is all just stuff that I've used and that I've just really enjoyed using. So, why not share it? These cards are hole punched in the top corner. Sorry, I'm holding two. They're hole punched in the top corner. They're a pretty good size. It doesn't work very well for phrases necessarily, but I've gotten some pretty long phrases on these cards. And because it's hole punched, it actually comes with some rings. I only have one of them because I have some of my flashcards are just scattered around the house, and I use them when I see them. Try and use them, just randomly, just practicing often anywhere. I mostly was using the white ones because the white ones I was using for vocabulary. So last month I decided to buy this, which is bigger than this one. Decided to buy this one. Has quite a bit more cards. It's all white. It still has the hole punches, still has all the rings. Since, a lot of it for me thus far has been about expanding my vocabulary. So these are the flashcards that I use. Again, I just get them off of Amazon. They're pretty great. I really like them. And I find them really helpful, being able to quiz yourself and do it in a way that, not that you can't make your own flashcards, but I think taking out the step of having to make your own flashcards can make it more of a learning experience and a little bit less of a craft experience, which I'm personally okay with and like better. But to each their own. You can also write in a notebook. I do write in my notebook, mostly because it's stuff that I'm learning in class. It's not my preferred way to write, but, whatever works. That's where I write a lot of my phrases, longer sentences, and stuff like that. I also use a few online resources, whether on my phone or on a web browser, and I will be showing those to you here in just a moment. This is one of the websites that I use. It was recommended by a teacher when we were just chatting at the end of 101. I'd asked her, what is a good online resource for continuing to practice how to write, maybe even getting a little bit of a head start on the kanji, and she said print-kids.net. As you can see, it's in Japanese. If you want to be able to read it since you are still new, just right-click the webpage, translate to English, bam. Down here under National Language Print, hiragana cards, and then practicing, which the practicing of the letters is these right here. You can download them, you can print them out, and you can practice writing the letters. If you don't want to get one of these, this can be a really good resource for you to be able to still practice writing the letters and writing them as they're being taught in Japanese school. My teacher said that this site is actually used in Japan, that these templates are actually used. So you are seeing how it's being written now, not how it was being written in 2007 or even older. they have a whole bunch of stuff: hiragana practice, katakana practice, kanji, and you're starting at the grade school level. This is, I believe, first grade. So this is what all that a first grader should know. So it gives you a good idea of where you are in your language learning journey, in terms of fluency, and how much you know, and how much is expected, not only of first graders in other countries, but also kind of first graders in your own country, depending. I don't remember first grade very well, but you know what? I was probably learning a lot. Not quite this much, because it is 2 writing systems, 3 writing systems, including kanji. But yeah, this is a really good resource. Printkids.net, the link, printkids.net/print/Kokugo, will get you specifically to this page, which looked like this. If you want to know specifically where I am at. Lastly, we are going to talk about a phone app. I had talked about it in my first episode. Again, nothing in this video is sponsored. I'm not being paid. I bought all of this with my own money, and in this case, the app is free unless you choose to use the premium version, and I am talking about Duolingo. Duolingo, since I did my first episode on my Japanese language journey, actually updated it and has added a really cool feature. I think I had talked about, my goal was to be at the first tower on Duolingo, so to be done with the prerequisite stuff. I did not get to that point, sort of because I put it on the back burner. I prioritized like my flashcards and my workbooks, and actually physically writing it more, but they did add something very cool recently, and I'm about to show you. So this is what Duolingo looks like normally. I do have the plus version right now, as you can see by the little infinity symbol right there. I'm just on the like 14-day free trial thing right now. However, what we want to look at is this little icon right here. It lets you on your phone write the hiragana or the katakana characters. All of them. I wish that I had this as an option when I had first started. Duolingo is a great resource. With the differences in font, not necessarily the differences in the way that something is written, although there can be those differences between different fonts. It can get a little confusing sometimes. However, I'm learning from a teacher, I'm learning from a Japanese teacher, and her showing me and telling me, the correct ways that things should be written can be helpful. Although, because of the font differences with Duolingo, I have had some confusion on whether or not I'm looking at a specific character, but it's so rare, and as I've learned the font differences with Duolingo, I've had less problems. Now that I've talked about everything that I'm using, I'm going to talk about what my goals are for this semester of Japanese. Other than the goals that are set by my school, which is knowing hiragana, knowing katakana, I think it's knowing 70 kanji but being able to use 30 of them proficiently, being able to write, read, and say them. I also have some other goals. So, Duolingo, I want to try and get more into. It gives me more practice. I'm able to hear. It's not always, again, the most accurate pronunciation, but to an extent, anything is better than nothing, and it's still a free resource, especially if you're not paying for it. So my goal by the end of this semester is to be at the 2 mark the 2 castle mark. So to be out of the preliminary, done with 1, going into 2. That is just one of my goals. One of my other goals by the end of this semester is to be done with this kanji book. I don't know or think that we're going to go through every single one of these kanjis in my class, but I would like to kind of get ahead, do a little bit of self-study, and just try and honestly be a little bit more studious than I have been. I've been really laxed, and not that it's been a detriment, but I definitely think that working hard is important, and working hard at a very difficult language, knowing that this is going to be a difficult journey if you don't already have prior knowledge of Japanese. It's important to go into when you're going into it. And I think that I need to be putting more effort into my Japanese, for sure. I want to be proficient at it. It's a degree choice that I'm looking into for my bachelor's degree. So taking this seriously and spending the time that's really needed for it is something that I need to do going forward. What are some of your language learning goals? Are you learning Japanese? Feel free and say it in the comments, or don't. I think that that's pretty much it for this episode. I do want to be doing these more. I'm sorry that there was such a big gap in between. Life has just been crazy, not just for me, but for everyone, with everything going on in my country, in my state, in the world, with school, with this language, work, and everything like that. But I do want to do it more. I don't have a concrete answer at this point, but I also know that this YouTube channel isn't just going to be for Japanese. I do stream Monday through Thursday, currently 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're interested in watching, my name is Fuzzy Bunny Meow, just like it is here. Feel free and stop by if you so choose to. No hard feelings either way. But yeah, I hope to be making these more often, maybe every other week. I'm not really sure. I don't know how much content I have or how this segment will evolve, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. I wish you all great luck if you're trying to learn a language, but especially great luck in life. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!